Monsieur Morales is an architect with a master's degree in industrial design in Mexico City. He obtained a grant from the government of Mexico to study his PhD in design at Université de Montréal, and he did his first postdoc in environmental gérontologie, excusez mon anglais, à l'Institut universitaire de gériatrie de Montréal. He did his second postdoc in collaboration with the Research Center of Innovation in Healthcare in Utrecht, in Netherlands, on healing environments. He is currently researcher and professor at the Centre interdisciplinaire de recherche en réadaptation et intégration sociale de l'Université Laval à Québec. Monsieur Morales?
Merci. Okay, I prepared this in English, because I thought it was, well, it's a world congress, right? So, so this research has been done with Jacqueline, as well as with François Routier. And, well, there's evidence that exists that that suggests that the accessibility norms in the code, if the norms of construction doesn't really apply right now for the type of mobility, for the technical mobility, les appareils, the wheelchairs, and because also the kind of population has changed. It's the code of construction is based on accessibility or in anthropometric standards. Well, these anthropometric standards are based on, a lot of them, on healthy adults that were just put in a wheelchair. And most of them are anthropometric data that was gathered in 1970. So there are a lot of people that, I mean, we changed, and our society is aging. So that makes a huge difference. So, well, that's exactly what I was talking about right now. So, well, based on all this, we made a pilot study that was financed by Le Repart, and we thought to go directly to the public toilet because it's the more used, and also because it has more polemic on the kind of grab bar and circulation area. And of course, this I love this. This is the bathroom. This is the illustration of the bathroom for a hotel room in the code of construction. So as you can see here, the circulation area is of 1,200 millimeters. I mean, seriously? Well, it's so because there is a need to revisit these standards. What we thought is to create and develop a methodology that is able to demonstrate scientifically, because that's the thing. We have a lot of things, we have a lot of research that is being done on preferences, but then if I want to make a change in the Code of Construction of Canada and in Quebec, I need like a proof and a clear methodology that can be repeated whenever they want, and having the same results. So the main objective really is this methodology that demonstrates the circulation areas and the grab bars. The sub-objectives is define the minimal and optimal areas to circulate with the different mobility devices with the help of acrylic panels. Yeah, I'll explain you why. And compare the grab bars proposed by the Canadian Code of Construction. So we had three different groups, men and women, young adults 18 and plus, and seniors 16 and plus. First was seniors that require the use of a walker to circulate. I just want to mention, it's a pilot study. That's why our échantillon, it's very limited. Seniors that use manual wheelchair, seniors that use power wheelchair, and the same repeated, but for young adults, right? So how can we make this like a method that is efficient, reliable, precise, easy to install and to interpret? Well, that was a big challenge. So we use this Vicon system, which is cameras that read markers, which are these small spheres that are put on the participant, and they only see the spheres. Okay, so then what is great about this system is that I can get the points in the space in a 3D dimension, and I can have immediately the position of each point in the space, therefore the exact measurement. So when I put that into the participant, I get the anthropometric measurements immediately. So there you go. So but basically, that's what you would see in the screen. And well, another example. So then, for comparing grab bars, how can I have something really reliable that would say one grab bar is better than the other? Well, we take the angles of the upper limbs. We take the activation of the muscles of the bicep and tricep. We take out the time of transfer. And we also ask for the personal appreciation, which grab bar is better. So the way we do it is that we have a little lab at the research center where I work. And this methodology is based on another research done by the University of Buffalo. And these are panels of acrylic that you can move, that are suspended, and that will determine what we tested were the different measurements that the code of construction says. So there you go. That's our laboratory. Those bracelets are they hold the markers. And we distributed the markers depending on the head technique, on the wheelchair or the walker. And with that, we asked to do some reaching movements and very specific positions so that we can get some anthropometric measurements. This is on the wheelchair, power and manual. And this is for the muscle activation. So what it is external electrodes that are just glued to the skin of the participant, and in the bicep and tricep, and that gives us how they work or how much they work. So these are pretty much what we have. It doesn't seem that much here in the screen, but this is the movement, right? That we get. This is another example. And well, for the results, this is what we get from the movement of the feet in the bathroom, right? So this is one panel, this is the other, and the toilet is here. So what is interesting is that, first of all, it's not a circular area of. It's pretty much an oval or something, but it's not a circular thing. And you see all these movements because it's the markers that are on the feet and on the rear part of the wheelchair. And this is another participant that is more smooth in the way he moved. And these are the muscle activation of the bicep and tricep. Sorry. What's the difference? Well, in the bicep, in the horizontal grab bar, the force is the activation is more in terms of length of time, how much time I use my two muscles. However, in the vertical grab bar is more, it's much more higher, but shorter, okay? What this graphic represents also is the balance. So the person getting up from the toilet to the stand-up position in the horizontal grab bar will make a movement, like I'm exaggerating of course, but will make a movement like this, whereas if they have a vertical support, they would be more steady, okay? So, I forgot to say something very important. We compared the horizontal grab bar that the Code of Construction says or recommends, and we compared that to an L-shaped grab bar, okay? And we measured the circulation area was, the Code of Construction has 3 different measurements or suggestions. The minimal is 1,500 millimeters from wall to wall, including, of course, the toilet is there. The second one is a perpendicular diameter of 1,500 millimeters in 45 degrees from the toilet, which is more reasonable. And the last one is 1,700 millimeters from wall to wall, which is really the one that should be, well, so far. Well, I say that. We don't, because the main objective was to find a good methodology, and I think the goal was met. Now, the next step is to have a representative poll, sample, thank you. A representative sample so that we can really say, these are the results. You cannot say no to this because it's been scientifically developed, and we cannot change yet, but we will, the Code of Constructions eventually. So that's it, thank you.
Yeah, John Kenwright, Park Victoria, Australia. I just want to make a few comments about design of accessible toilets. With our park service, we manage several hundred accessible toilets in our parks across the state of Victoria. Some of them are really good designs with the latest standards. Some of them are very poor because they're complying with very old standards, and a number of wheelchairs, people in wheelchairs couldn't get in because they're just too small, or inappropriate railing, etc. We've been doing quite a bit of consultation with disability groups and carers on what they're requiring in public accessible toilets in our parks. And what we discovered is that a number of park visitors with disabilities who are in wheelchairs have not been able to access our public accessible toilets simply because they are incontinent. And what we discovered, talking to them and some of their carers, was that they could only visit our parks for a few hours because if they have an accident, they need to be lifted out of the wheelchair and cleaned. And a typical accessible public toilet doesn't have an adult change bench or a hoist where they could be lifted out and be attended to in the privacy of a cubicle. And what it often means is that they'd have to be lifted out of the chair manually by friends or carers onto a filthy floor where there's no room anyway, or they have to actually get back into their car and go home to get cleaned. So this is a real issue for a lot of our park visitors, and as a result we're planning to implement the changing places toilets, which are being quite popular in the UK and parts of Europe, as an addition to the standard accessible toilets. The other comment I want to make is that whatever standards that are developed for accessible toilets, there's a range of abilities there, and people, for example, who have suffered from a stroke, where they've got some paralysis or whatever, that also needs to be considered in the design. One of the key complaints we get is the positioning of toilet rolls, for example, and how to access those toilet rolls. Because people with poor fine motor skills have difficulty, and if you go to accessible toilets in this building, you'll see what I mean. A typical public toilet, the design of the toilet roll holders designed to cater for a large amount of toilet rolls, so you don't have to constantly go in and change them with the cleaners. And they're also designed to be pretty vandal-proof. Now, that is a tension there between those designs and what is needed for a person with disability, where they can the indignity of not being able to actually reach the toilet roll holder or actually get toilet paper and have to call somebody for assistance is a real significant issue. And I think that certainly needs to be really considered by architects in future designs. Thank you.
Est-ce que oui, vous voulez répondre?
Well, I mean, I agree with you 100%. And what it is so complex about this research, or what was very complex about the methodology, was to find a way in which it can cover a larger number of users. And I'm an architect, but I work with OTs in all my researchers, and it was very difficult to say, but what about this population, and what about this population, and that doesn't work. And so I agree, any standard that we put, or if we modify, if we are able to modify the code of construction, which hopefully we will, it won't cover everything. It will cover more than what covers now. That's for sure. But it's also for sure that it won't cover it all for everyone as well.
Je rajouterais que le code de construction ici au Québec, comme on l'a dit dans une présentation ce matin, c'est un minimum. C'est pas des guidelines, c'est pas des standards, c'est un minimum. Donc, quand on essaie d'augmenter le minimum, on est loin de répondre aux besoins de tous. Et on est loin de répondre adéquatement aux besoins des gens. Là. Il y a d'autres façons aussi, puis avec les standards, les guidelines, c'est des façons de donner des exemples. Et là, à ce moment-là, ça prend une volonté du propriétaire. Et le why de M. Ambrose est important. Pourquoi on fait ça, le faire comprendre. Après ça, ça permet d'avoir des réalisations qui sont plus concluantes.